2022 Lexus RX. Is it worth buying one over other luxury SUVs? That's what we're going to find out. Welcome to Car Help Corner, where we help you, the consumer, master the process of car buying and car ownership. If you're in the market for a mid-size luxury SUV, there is a very good chance that you've considered buying a Lexus RX. It is one of the best-selling luxury SUVs in North America, and there's a very good reason for that. Over the last 2 decades, it has built one of the best reputations in the market when it comes to its long-term reliability and build quality. If you're looking for a luxury SUV that's going to last you for a very long time with minimal repair costs, the Lexus RX is one of the safest choices to go with. The reality is, though, that the Lexus RX does have some very stiff competition from a lot of newer luxury SUVs. So is it still worth considering the Lexus RX over its competitors? Well, make sure to stick around to the end of the video because that's what we're going to find out. The current generation Lexus RX has now been on the market since the 2016 model year, and it's actually due for a full redesign in the near future. Despite that, it has aged extremely well, and this is still a very stylish and modern SUV. Lexus offers a few different versions of the RX, including the RX350 and the RX450h. The RX350 comes with a naturally aspirated 3.5-liter V6 engine that makes 295 horsepower and 268 pound-feet of torque. This engine comes matched to an 8-speed automatic transmission with either front-wheel drive or optional all-wheel drive, with all-wheel drive being standard in Canada. Now, this engine is definitely no powerhouse when compared to the more modern twin-turbo engines that you get in a lot of other luxury SUVs. But despite that, it does make an adequate amount of power, more than enough for passing on the highway, and it does have a towing capacity of up to 3,500 pounds. And even though it doesn't have any modern turbochargers, that lack of complexity is actually what helps give it its amazing long-term reliability. Lexus has been using this V6 engine for an extremely long time, and because it's so well proven and time tested, it's capable of delivering hundreds of thousands of problem-free miles. Now, Lexus also gives you the option of the RX450h, which is a hybrid-powered SUV using the same V6 engine matched to an electric motor and a battery pack. Because this hybrid system uses a V6 engine with an electric motor, it actually produces a bit more power than the RX350, 308 horsepower, which is pretty impressive. Now, ordinarily, when it comes to Lexus and Toyota hybrids, they are a no-brainer because most of them do offer amazing fuel economy for not much of a price premium. In this case, however, I am a little bit torn because unlike other comparable SUVs like, say, the Toyota Highlander hybrid, which uses a much more fuel-efficient 4-cylinder engine, the RX uses a big V6, which means that the fuel economy difference between the RX350 and the RX450h is not as big as you might think. The RX350, for example, is capable of anywhere from 20 to 28 miles per gallon, or around 9 to 13 liters per 100 kilometers. The hybrid, however, only does slightly better, averaging around 30 to 33 miles per gallon, or around 8 to 9 liters per 100 kilometers. Now, that's definitely not bad fuel economy for a big, heavy luxury SUV like this, but the RX450h does cost up to $3,000 more than a comparable RX350, and I'm not quite sure whether you'll really recoup that extra money in fuel savings over time. That being said, if you're just looking for the greenest, quietest, and smoothest version of the RX, the 450h is definitely a really good way to go. Now, the one that I'm test driving here is the F Sport version, which does come with a lot of sporty garnishes on the outside, making it a lot more aggressive looking. But even though this might look like a sporty SUV, this is definitely no competitor to something like a Porsche Cayenne. The handling and performance is okay, but this is definitely an SUV that's much more geared towards comfort, and I actually don't think there's anything wrong with that. The reality is that most SUV buyers are primarily looking for a comfortable SUV to drive to work, run errands, and carry the family around, and the RX350 is perfect for that. It has an unbelievably smooth ride, a quiet interior, and this would just make an amazing SUV for long road trips where you just want to be as comfortable as possible. Part of that comfort also has to do with the interior, which definitely lives up to the luxury SUV label. All of the materials that Lexus uses are top-notch, and the build quality is absolutely amazing. I've been inside of plenty of much more expensive luxury SUVs, including BMWs and Mercedes, that may look really expensive inside, but have surprisingly cheap-feeling materials with a lot of creaky trim bits and plastics. There's definitely nothing like that in the RX. This is a very solid and well put together interior that definitely gives off the impression that it would hold up extremely well over time. Lexus also doesn't get enough credit for how amazingly comfortable and supportive their front seats are. These are definitely some of the better seats that you get in any luxury SUV. But even though this is a very luxurious interior, there's definitely some areas where it's starting to show a bit of its age. One of those areas is the infotainment system. Base versions of the RX come with an 8-inch touchscreen, but if you go for any of the higher trim levels, you get a much larger touchscreen that's over 12 inches wide. One of the biggest complaints about this infotainment system is that it uses a pretty dated user interface with the Lexus trackpad system, which is pretty finicky to use on the move. Now, I happen to think that the complaints about this infotainment system are just a little bit overblown. It does, after all, have touchscreen capability, and it does come with both Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And it also comes with plenty of simple shortcut buttons and tuning knobs for all of your commonly used features, so it's definitely not that bad to use. And this is definitely a very well-equipped luxury SUV that comes with most of the features and tech that you would expect to see. What's really great is that all RX models come with Lexus Safety System 2.0 Plus, which gives you a lot of active safety tech, including emergency braking, blind spot monitoring with rear cross traffic alert, and adaptive cruise control with lane keep assist. Now, even though it is nice to see all of these safety features as standard on the RX, they're definitely not quite as good as some of the other luxury SUVs in the segment. The lane keep assist, for example, is nowhere near as good as the highway driving assist that you get on the latest Genesis GV80, which has much better autopilot capability. From a space and practicality standpoint, though, the RX is definitely pretty competitive. There's plenty of room in the back seats for taller adults, and they also have the ability to slide and fold, which is really nice to see. Now, the RX does offer the option of third row seating with the L model of the RX350 and 450h, but I don't necessarily recommend taking that option. The third row seat in the RXL versions are ridiculously cramped, and even kids will struggle to get comfortable back there. If you're looking for true 7-seater 3-row capability, then your best bet is to look at something else like the Genesis GV80 or the Acura MDX. As far as pricing goes, the RX is definitely competitive for its segment. It ranges anywhere from $47,000 to $60,000 US, or around $60,000 to $80,000 Canadian. That puts it in the same ballpark as other mid-sized luxury SUVs like the Acura MDX, the Infiniti QX60, and the Jeep Grand Cherokee. Price-wise, though, it is a much better value than the German luxury SUVs like the BMW X5, the Mercedes GLE, or the Audi Q7, all of which can cost a lot more money. And as I touched on earlier, the one thing that you will not get from any of those European SUVs that's a given with the Lexus RX is strong long-term reliability and low repair costs. Unlike most of its competitors, which can start developing some very serious and expensive repair issues right out of warranty, the RX is designed to last an extremely long time. So if you're buying a luxury SUV with the intention on keeping it for up to 10 years or even longer, there's no question about it, the Lexus RX is one of the safest options that you can go with. And because the RX has such a well-proven track record for strong reliability, it also has one of the highest resale values of any luxury SUV as well. Even though the RX could definitely use some updates when it comes to its technology, and it's definitely not the best choice if you need 3-row seating, this is still a very well-designed and good luxury SUV to buy. There are a lot of really great luxury SUVs on the market, most of which offer better performance and better tech than what you get with the RX. But the RX is not about delivering fancy tech and gimmicks. This is an SUV that's all about substance and value for money. And if that's your priority when buying a luxury SUV, you really can't do much better than the Lexus RX. So let me know what you think of the 2022 Lexus RX. Would you consider one over other comparable luxury SUVs? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. You can also take a look at some of my other car videos by checking out these links right over here. Make sure to follow me on TikTok and Instagram. And if you need any additional car buying advice, recommendations, or help with getting a great deal on your next new car purchase, make sure to check out carhelpcanada.com. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.